Dear devotees, oh, Ekadashi Devidasi, looking like she's studying in her home. Maybe she's studying Bhakti Yoga, the most worthwhile thing to study. All right. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. To those of us on Zoom, on Facebook, and who will read presently or see presently, then to all of you, my obeisances, our obeisances to each other too. All right, well, today in this part of the world, Rupanuga Prabhu joined us too. Jai Rupanuga Prabhu from Australia. So very international. So today is a very big day all over the world. And we are on the theme of the back to basics. And with that theme, we actually have the very basis of the purity presented to the world of our Sampradaya. Because today in the Western world, and with you, the rest of you soon, is Śrīla Bhakti Siddhānta Saraswatī Ṭhākur's appearance day. Śrīla Bhakti Siddhānta Saraswatī Ṭhākur's appearance day. And so it is like the Vyasa Puja, and for the devotees in the world, for our generation, it's our grandfather's appearance day, spiritually speaking. For some, it's a great grandfather. And of course, I am seeing as we progress through life, then it's to some, it's the great grandfather's appearance day. So we are seeing the generations coming through, and at the same time remembering that we are passing through. We're not going to be like the question, what is the greatest wonder? The greatest wonder that everybody's walking into the jaws of death at every moment, but we are not making any arrangement ourselves. So we need to be very clear that we know tomorrow we may not wake up, as it were, in this body at any moment. The world is like that. But Śrīla Bhakti Siddhānta Saraswatī Ṭhākur, he is, no matter how many great, grandfather or great-grandfather, great-great-great-great-great-grandfathers, for all time to come, Śrīla Saraswatī Ṭhākur, he is the lion guru, like the roaring guru, affectionate to his cubs and very ferocious to the non-devotee section, very ferocious to their propaganda of nonsense conceptions, misconceptions, etc. And the wrong conceptions being presented in the name of Mahaprabhu. So Śrīla Bhakti Siddhānta Saraswatī Ṭhākur, in our very back to basics, really, he is the purifier of our Sampradaya. That after Mahaprabhu, and this really so much, so clear when we hear it, but so much came from Guru Maharaj that the question came, how is it that so soon after Mahaprabhu's disappearance, everything went very kind of wrong so soon? Only a very few were following the pure line of Mahaprabhu, but the majority in the public eye were seeing that Mahaprabhu's followers were just taking on the dress of a devotee in order to make money, in order to misuse, and wrong things, totally wrong. And so Srila Guru Maharaj replied, well, when there is a high wave in the ocean, then behind that wave there's a big dip, and then another wave, then another dip like this. And so it's to be expected. So with the greatest wave ever known of Mahaprabhu, then behind that became a dip, a big dip. And then it was the conception of Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, but the actual putting into practice, if you like, of cleansing the Sampradaya of Śrīla Bhakti Siddhānta Saraswatī Ṭhākur, that we have now the up part of the wave that is coming all over the world by the desire of Mahaprabhu and Nityananda. So Śrīla Bhakti Siddhānta Saraswatī Ṭhākur, we can understand something of his nature from the writings and the compositions of Srila Guru Maharaj and Srila Gurudev. And from there we understand, I mean, very sweetly how ferocious he was to nonsense, but how affectionate he was to the devotees. So this is our good fortune. And the grandfather and the great-grandfather, etc., they all have so much more affection to the children than the parents and than the father himself. This is Gurudev's own expression. So we are very fortunate to have not only wonderful parents, but we've got wonderful grandparents. In fact, they're not in the wonderful category, they're in the super wonderful category. So today is that day. So it is another of these like essential days for us to, as Guru Maharaj said, direct quotation, thank our lucky stars that we've come to this shelter, that we've come in touch with such wonderful things. And Guru Maharaj simply saying, we must thank our lucky stars, because look in the world, very much misfortune flowing everywhere, but somehow or another, we've come to this side. So Śrīla Bhakti Siddhānta Saraswatī Ṭhākur ki jai. And also, just to start us off, because Gurudev and Guru Maharaj, they want us to give a mention in particular to those whose appearance or disappearance days they are, and we try to. And so today is also Śrīla Bhakti Saranga Goswami Maharaj's appearance day. So he appeared on the same day, calendar day, as Śrīla Bhakti Siddhānta Saraswatī Ṭhākur. And any of us who've heard from Gurudev, heard from Gurudev or heard from Guru Maharaj himself, they know how much affectionate respect Guru Maharaj had for Śrīla Bhakti Saranga Goswami Maharaj, and how much affectionate respect Śrīla Goswami Maharaj, Bhakti Saranga Goswami Maharaj had for Guru Maharaj. And so they both had much affection, but affectionate respect for each other's devotional nature, each other's association, company, etc. And Bhakti Saranga Goswami Maharaj, he was senior to Guru Maharaj in the time of being in the temple, the time terms of being in the temple. But he always looked to, presently, he always looked to Guru Maharaj for seeing what standard of preaching they're doing. Am I preaching correctly? What also in the time of Śrīla Saraswatī Ṭhākur, what did Śrīla Saraswatī Ṭhākur say? What was his message in the gathering, etc., etc. So their relationship was very close, and many things we've heard from Guru Maharaj, actually. Guru Maharaj and Gurudev, because both we had the opportunity to hear the glories of Śrīla Bhakti Saranga Goswami Maharaj. And we'll be going to his temple on the virtual parikrama, which is coming up for Gaurapanima. We'll no doubt be visiting his temple in Mayapur. But he also, famously or not, I suppose famous for us, because we spent a little time there in Vrindavan, but very close to our temple. Behind our temple and just a short distance away. So very close to Radha Damodar temple is Bhakti Saranga Goswami Maharaj's temple in Vrindavan. It's the Imli Tala temple. And very nicely maintained by, first of all, established by him and maintained by his successors. And we are always, their disciples, the successor disciples, that always makes us just feel as though we're in the same temple as our own temple, as it were. Very family, feeling very family, close connection. And Bhakti Saranga Goswami Maharaj, he was a great preacher, and sent to London by Śrīla Bhakti Siddhānta Saraswatī Ṭhākur, and many things in his CV, which I'm not even sure what CV means, curriculum vitae or something. Hey, I'm in Italy, I should know, because this is the Roman land of Latin. Just see. And anyhow, many things we can say, but I don't want to be just giving, talk. But actually, so two things today, in this theme of back to basics, it's so wonderful that, we can say happy birthday. We always have this tradition to say happy birthday. But actually, we want to wish a happy birthday of Saraswatī Ṭhākur to all the disciples, to all the devotees, all of our family. Means normally we're addressing happy birthday to the person whose birthday it is. But we wish a happy, all the devotees, for the birthday of Śrīla Saraswatī Ṭhākur. Because really it's a great day of rejoicing if we take it in the right way.
Maharaj?
If you know what I'm reaching for my umbrella. Why? Because it's how I hold the phone in the same place as the computer, so I can see the phone. I hang it over the back, just so you know. You wonder what I'm doing. So today is Bhakti Siddhānta Saraswatī Ṭhākur's day. He basically inaugurated the Krishna consciousness movement worldwide. And also, now you know what I do. You now are inaugurated to know what I do, so I can see the phone at the same time. Okay.
Maharaj, he was also a biggest propagator of Yukta Vairagya. And you're a good example of that.
What?
By using umbrella and a little, what was that? A little rubber in the service to the Lord.
Wouldn't that be Paramahamsa Dharma? Using everything for the service of the Lord? He was also a big proponent of that.
Yes, Vaikuntha Nivriti, Yukta Vairagya.
Well, we're with the scholarly section here, who've got all the different angles of vision, who can see devotion even where there is none, but they bring it out and fan it. So we are fortunate to be in the association of each of you. Hare Krishna. But this way we can see, yes, some devotees with their hidden names, but some of you can't hide behind your hidden names. Maharaj, if you want to use your non-devotee name, I'm happy with that. My dandavat to you, Maharaj. And to the other devotees who joined us on Facebook, okay, great, I'm very happy to see. And Brian Fairfield in devotional name. Please excuse, I can't remember your passport name regular name to devotional name, but my dandavat to you, dandavat to all who've joined, and Alessandro, okay, Jai, welcome. Dibya Shakti. Oh, by the way, yesterday, you know how every Wednesday we have an Italian evening for the Zoom, so that for the Italian devotees. And yesterday we had as our guests of honor, because we have different guests of honor different times. We had the Texas devotees, and so Anukul Chandra, Jai, Anukul Chandra, good to have you with us, Jai, happily remembering you and your wonderful hospitality. So Dibya Shakti, Braja Vihari is Brian Fell. Okay, Braja Vihari Poo, dandavat to each of you. And yesterday was, so it's less than 12 hours ago here, it was the guest of honors of the Texas devotees, who, because many of them are out of town doing their business thing for service, then we had 3 devotees there. We had Dibya Shakti, Devidasi, who's with us now. We have Braja Mohini, Devidasi, who is described by Dibya as the temple commander of the Texas temple. She's keeping everything in ship shape. And the third one was surprise, very happy surprise, visitor, there. And that was Madhavananda Prabhu, my not really twin brother, but like a twin brother. Madhavananda Prabhu. So we had a wonderful evening in their association yesterday. Yes, so Paramananda Prabhu, I can ask you to say just a couple of words on the principle of back to basics. So how the basis of our devotional life, actually, I mean, in summary, coming from Śrīla Bhakti Siddhānta Saraswatī Ṭhākur in his practical presentation and distribution of pure devotional service. And we can't think anything is a coincidence, and we can think that Śrīla Bhakti Saranga Goswami Maharaj, whose example of the devotee is appreciated everywhere. And we know of him through Guru Maharaj and Gurudev, and not in person as such. I'm not sure what year he passed away. But then we feel always so nourished when we hear of his qualities and remember of that relationship of Guru Maharaj and Gurudev. Guru Maharaj and Śrīla Goswami Maharaj, and of Śrīla Goswami Maharaj and Śrīla Gurudev, because Gurudev knew him very well. And he has his happy stories too. But Paramananda Prabhu, please, you may kindly say a few words for us all, and an opportunity then for the others to ask and to contribute.
Maharaj, I'm actually very much looking forward to hear the glorification of Saraswati Ṭhākur from Śrīla Goswami Maharaj, also from all of you. And we had a little program this morning, singing beautiful songs. One was composed by not disciple in the sense of initiated disciple, Jaya Jai Paramahamsa Mahashai, a beautiful composition that was happily accepted by all the Vaishnavas, followers of Saraswati Ṭhākur. And really considering that, you can say that Vaishnava, and Gurudev himself said, that Vaishnava was a pure Vaishnava, and not just that, but a pure follower of Saraswati Ṭhākur. Otherwise, how he can come up with such extensive and beautiful and sweet glorifications? And then, of course, followed by Śrīla Guru Maharaj. And really, Guru Maharaj's poetry is so sweet and so beautiful. I think it was the Panchakam composed by Śrīla Guru Maharaj, Siddhaita Das Panchakam, starts from Bhayabhanjana. So we sang that, full translation, beautiful again. And remember Śrīla Saraswati Ṭhākur's pastimes and some stories, but they're endless. When you start talking, I don't think you can stop, you know where to stop. So we will hear again the most important part, description of his contribution. And really, Maharaj just mentioned this morning how everything come to us through Saraswati Ṭhākur, including Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākur. And I'm sure you will hear it again from Śrīla Goswami Maharaj. He gave us everything. The fact that we're still here, all of us here talking about subjects, and we have Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākur, just like a Advaita Acharya, seeing out Vaishnava Association was spread. One of your Parsha who spread Gauranga Mahaprabhu's mission around the world, and how Saraswati Ṭhākur appeared here. That story, auspicious Purushottam Dham, and all the divine signs were visible on his body and in the environment as well. How Radha stopped, or Jagannath wanted his devotee, and how young was brought by Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākur and his mother and the Lord Jagannath, the garland fell. All those steps we can read, and we can hear from Śrīla Goswami Maharaj and Madhusudan Maharaj and other Vaishnavas. But also we mentioned about the poetry. Śrīla Guru Maharaj, he composed this beautiful verse, and he himself said, if my Guru Maharaj, Śrīla Saraswati Ṭhākur, would hear it, he will say that you encaged me in a cage of poetry. You captured me in a cage of poetry in that composition. And that is Nikila Bhuvanamoy, Chinna Vichinna Kartri, Vibhutha Bahulam Vigya, Mukti Mahanta Datri, Sitirita Viti Raga, Radharadeshadhani, and Vilasata Hridi Nityam, Bhakti Siddhānta. So describing what did Saraswati do? Completely cutting asunder plane of exploitation, plane of renunciation, plane of calculative mentality, the liberationists, and then slugging the Vidhi mark, giving us focus on what is the most important. And it says that he steps over Vaikuntha and take us to the divine realm of Vrindavan, to the lotus feet of Radha Govinda, and giving us worship, giving us admittance. And also is start of all Gaudiya Vaishnavas. So all these things are coming from Saraswati Ṭhākur. I mean, it's impossible. At the same time, it is our responsibility and glorification of such divine personality. We can say it's impossible to glorify the Lord, but it's even more difficult to glorify Lord devotee. Krishna, he wants to glorify his devotee, and he's not always succeeding. I mean, he's very expert, no doubt about it, the most expert, but still the devotees are winning that competition. What can we say? And also our Mat Maharaj, everybody and all the devotees know, when we're standing in the Nat Mandir and looking at our deities there, Shri Guru Gauranga Radha Govinda Sundarju, Gandharva Govinda Sundarju, we're seeing this motto of our Mat composed by Saraswati Ṭhākur himself. Ujjala Raga Pata Gaurava Bhangi Mattala Harijana Kirtana Range, corrected by Gurudev with the blessings of Srila Guru Maharaj, of course, and of course, then it's also considered to be a blessings of Srila Saraswati Ṭhākur, so others wouldn't misinterpret it. But really, this is giving divine service of Vrindavan, but also Guru Maharaj is saying he spent gallons of blood to say what is not that, what is not divine service of Vrindavan, what is not Mathuri Rasa, what is not devotional service, completely demolishing all the Sahajya, Prakrita Sahajya teachings, Mayavad, impersonalism, and establishing devotional service to the lotus feet of the Lord as the only truth. Maharaj, what can I say? Very soon we will hear more. Now we will hear more. Then in half an hour we will hear more. So it's endless. And we were talking to one devotee, and he said, "Oh, in ISKCON they celebrated it yesterday." I said, "Well, why not? We can have two celebrations. In fact, we can have celebrations of his appearance every day in our heart."
Jai. That sounds like a very good idea. Hare Krishna. All right. Any question or comment? And we have Kum, who I don't always want to refer to you as our senior most, but you are. I mean, in devotion. I'm youngest by age, no doubt, but senior most by connection and age in devotional service. So, Kum Didi, asking if you'd like to comment anything or ask anything too.
Well, I was recently reading about Śrīla Saraswatī Ṭhākur, but also because here in California yesterday was the divine disappearance of Sripad Siddhānta Maharaj, Bhakti Siddhānta Maharaj. And so I was thinking that I wanted to see through the light of his beautiful eyes. And it was so easy. And for example, when I first heard of Śrīla Saraswatī Ṭhākur in ISKCON, they described him as the grandfather that Srila Prabhupada said is more affectionate than the father. So from the beginning, I always had that impression that he was not the renounced side at all, but the affectionate side. And thinking of Siddhānta Maharaj, I found so many things that made me think these perhaps encouraged and enthused him about Śrīla Saraswatī Ṭhākur and the line that we are in. And for example, he revolutionized Krishna consciousness preaching by giving preference to pure devotional qualifications over lineage. And of course, all of us, that is so basic. We're all very, very dependent on that. And he caused the domain of love to descend into this plane with the service of Radha Govinda and established the flow of divine love from the heart as all in all. And also, Srila Gurudev said about him that if our Shraddha is strong, then we will believe everything easily. And if without believing, nothing in this world will make sense, because it's the illusory world, so we won't be able to come to any understanding of it. So our belief and acceptance of him is all in all for us. And then also those items which are his advice and published. And these are the ones that reminded me of Siddhānta Maharaj the most. And he said, Śrīla Saraswatī Ṭhākur said, as written in Sriman Mahaprabhu's Sikshastakam, Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam, may Shri Krishna Sankirtan be supremely victorious, is the Gaudiya Mat's only doctrine. And chanting Sri Harinam and meeting the Lord are one and the same. And by establishing printing presses, publishing devotional literature, and organizing Sankirtan programs, one will truly serve Sri Mayapur. We are not moralists or sinners, scholars or illiterates. We are carriers of the shoes of the Lord's sincere servants who are initiated into the mantra Kirtaniya Siddhahari. The Lord's name is to be chanted constantly. And finally, this really reminds me of Siddhānta Maharaj. Do not criticize the characters of others. Purify yourself.
Haribo, beautiful, and very appropriate to quote those my advice, those advices of Śrīla Saraswatī Ṭhākur. And yes, you see, for us, it's 2 days ago, Siddhānta Maharaj's disappearance. For you, it's yesterday. And we've been very Siddhānta Maharaj conscious, I can say, as well as trying to be Krishna conscious and other things. But I have to say, we've been very Siddhānta Maharaj conscious for the last couple of days. So for you, it's yesterday. And really, surprisingly, so many things we're doing. And then, because it's been Siddhānta Maharaj's disappearance day, and then somehow or another we've been doing things. And this specifically reminding us of Siddhānta Maharaj, this reminding us of Siddhānta Maharaj. And really, another wonderful opportunity. You see, the name is in the calendar. Siddhānta Maharaj passed away before Gurudev passed away, the same year, just a short time before. He passed away in February. And then Guru Maharaj passed away in, actually could have even been January that year. Anyhow, he passed away January, February in the solar calendar. And then Gurudev, as we know, passed away in March. So he also left the world before Gurudev. And he was a wonderful example to us all that devotees have lots of character and lots of devotion. And everybody's been contributing. All devotees who met him just even briefly, he came to Italy. And some devotees, they met him only for a short time, but nobody forgets him after they meet him. And he was such a sweet, personable, devoted, and full of character Vaishnava. Siddhānta Maharaj, I hope you're smiling down on us all. No, don't chastise me, please, Siddhānta Maharaj. Hare Krishna. So lest we forget is some expression, isn't it? So lest we forget the great soldiers of our mission.
And Maharaj, just wanted to say a couple of words on Siddhānta Maharaj. While he is on,
I don't think you'll be able to say just a couple of words.
I know, but it is my responsibility. Anyhow, we knew how much he suffered at the end. So he's practically on his deathbed, suffering a lot. But what is he doing? of course, with the help of the devotees, he's writing mails to all the devotees that somehow touched his heart, that he knew, and begging for forgiveness and offering his dandavas, his obeisances at their lotus feet. And I was so much impressed. I mean, if I would be on a deathbed, what would be I doing? But Siddhanta Maharaj, covering practically everybody and expressing, remembering some stories, some pastimes that happened with these devotees. So he is doing that. He is engaged in glorification of the Vaishnavas and offering obeisances to the Vaishnavas while he is leaving the world. Such a perfect example for all of us.
And preaching until he left the world. And the nurse who looked after him in those during that last time, she told that she's never seen anybody like him before. And she got so much inspiration. And the first-hand witness of that is Janardhan Maharaj and also Veera Chandra Prabhu of America, who very selflessly served him. And the nurse was like amazed by his character, unique. And she's dealing with dying people, like, oh, that's her job all the time. So he was preaching to her. That was what the point is. He's telling her about Krishna, about the journey of the soul, body to body. And it was very amazing for her to see this. Because of course it was Siddhanta Maharaj's disappearance day yesterday or 2 days ago for the rest of us. And Śrīla Bhakti, yes.
Using this moment, I would like to offer obeisances to all the devotees. We're starting our program here, so I will go and join the kirtans, and we will see you there shortly.
Oh yes, indeed. Yeah. Good. Right, Dandavat. So safe journey. Are you going in the BMW or the Mercedes? Just so that I...
No, Maharaj, we are in the
temple now, Maharaj.
Oh, you're in the temple. Oh, you're in Avadhut Maharaj's room upstairs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're just going to go down and join.
Okay, looks like you pressed the button already. Oh, Krishna cut off the internet. Okay.
Yes,
all right, see you both there very soon. My Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna. Govinda, Govinda. And from any other quarter, please. And, well, Jivana Devinasi, please. I can ask you. And Chinmoy Dev Prabhu, he's listening and processing audio and video all the time. You can come up with, just share something, in a minute or two, Chinmoy Dev Prabhu, but let Jivana first share something with us, because she has a very big heart and it is full of all sorts of goodies.
Only because I'm with you guys, then maybe something. But I just was thinking about how Siddhanta Maharaj, I believe it was Siddhanta Maharaj, who would say that every morning you have to beat your mind with a shoe, and then every night you beat your mind with a broom. And he would suggest, and actually Gurudev said also about reading that Amara Jivana every single day, the Amara Jivana song, about the different ways that we are missing the boat, and to help us become purified from that.
And why did he tell us to beat our mind with a shoe and with a broom? Share that with us.
The mind is just nonsense, and it's always looking on the surface of everything. It wants to just control everything, and the intelligence has to come and tell the mind. The mind is just thinking, I like this, I don't like that, I like this, I don't like that. It's just like a little bratty rascal going off all the time. Very hard to sift through it. So when you first wake up in the morning, you want him to just be quiet, and then during the day also, but at least in the morning and in the evenings, you have to really try and subdue the mind as far as possible, according to Śrīla Bhakti Siddhānta.
And I believe it was in the evening you beat your mind with a shoe, because a shoe is a great chastisement. To be hit with a shoe is like very bad chastisement. So as far as I understand, it was that look back on your day and then punish your mind for the things it has not done or done wrongly. So that's the punishment side. And then in the morning, with a stick, like the school teacher has a stick. You do your classes nicely, you studied nicely in this way. So in the morning, you're beating your mind with the stick in giving it instruction. Today, be a good mind. Be my friend and not my enemy. This kind of thing. Yes, I also understand that as Śrīla Bhakti Siddhānta Saraswatī Ṭhākur giving this advice to the devotees. That list of advice is 14 items that Kumkum Devidasi quoted. But of course, that doesn't mean that he didn't give other advices, but that was actual published advices. So we have to think, oh yes, in a particular way, he's emphasized these. So yes, one of the advices of Śrīla Saraswatī Ṭhākur, wonderful. Jai, thank you, Jivana, on behalf of us all. And Chinmoy Dev Prabhu, can you share something you've been hearing or saying or seeing?
Well, I can share a little on Siddhānta Maharaj, and as many knew him. Well, we know the conception of Patita Pavana. You know, Krishna is a friend of the fallen, Mahaprabhu is a friend of the fallen, but also Siddhānta Maharaj's nature was definitely like that. Like there was nobody he would disregard. He was always trying to give encouragement to the lowest of the devotees who were struggling or, you know, may not have been respected as much. He was always trying to give them mercy. And I remember one particular time, he always did not want to create an offense. He was always looking not to create offense. And one time he went to a rainbow gathering. And if you don't know rainbow gathering, it's a big festival of hippies, and they're all out in the forest and they're cooking, and maybe not very sattvic environment, but Siddhānta Maharaj, he was always very eager to go and preach to people and chant the holy name. And one point they were in a circle and there was some kirtan, and there was also maybe something else going around the kirtan, and Siddhānta Maharaj passed on that thing and gave it to the next person in line. And then afterwards he told Hari Kirtan, he was like, do you think I created some offense by not taking what they were offering?
Hare Krishna.
But that was Siddhānta Maharaj, and he always wanted to chant the holy name, and a very pure devotee. And I can't remember exactly the story I heard from Tyagi Maharaj, but something toward the end of his life where his real belief, his real feeling was that everything was for Gurudev, and even his body was for Gurudev. And he felt some sadness that because his body was in this state, he could not offer it fully to Gurudev. So, you know, a pure devotee. That's what I could say.
Very happy to have the continuance of his remembrance, and not to, again, as I said, lest we forget. We need to remember these devotees always and all the time. And all the devotees, please, who are living, please have appreciation. Not only when devotees pass away, please have appreciation. We're surrounded by so many selfless devotees. We look back in their history. We have in our mission even devotees who were in the psychiatric wards in Russia for being Hare Krishna in the communist time. And they tolerated all that, came through it, and then eventually came across Gurudev and Guru Maharaj. And there's so many wonderful personalities in our mission that are in other places and in our own places, not to think that, oh, only wonderful devotees are somewhere else. We're fortunate that devotees now are all over the world, and we must appreciate our Sangha. Not to criticize anybody, especially devotees, but don't criticize anybody. Look at their good qualities always, alive, when devotees are alive or passed away. Passing away gives us a time to give particular focus, but this is Ishta Goshti, established by Guru Maharaj, that Gurudev continued, that we tried to continue under Gurudev's eye. This is Ishta Goshti, gathering the devotees and giving praise to each other. So lest we forget, we must appreciate all of our associates who are gracing us at all times. Jai, yes. And any contribution from anybody, or we've got 3 particular subject matters. Hot on the pot, hot in the pot. Śrīla Siddhānta Maharaj's disappearance, Śrīla Bhakti Siddhānta Saraswatī Ṭhākur's appearance, and Śrīla Bhakti Saranga Goswami Maharaj's appearance. Anything you'd like to serve up from the hot pots?
Maharaj, I just recall one small comment that I heard from Srila Gurudev about the assistant of Bhakti Saranga Goswami Maharaj. We were in Vrindavan, and so she came over from Imli Tala, and I don't remember her name. It was a very simple name. And Gurudev was laughing and having such a nice time talking with her. And he told me later that they were like buddies, like seva buddies, and they would help each other all the time. If one of them needed something for the worship of the Guru, then they would always think of asking the other. And she was very, very nice. And it was just such a jolly thing. And you got a little glimpse into this is how great, pure disciples serve their gurus.
Jai.
Do you recall her name? It was something very simple, like, yeah.
Didi.
Maharaj.
Yes.
Is Goswami Maharaj, is he the one who went to London and found the Vasudeva Murti in the park?
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. And that, you know, when Srila Prabhupada, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada went to the West, and then almost he tried, and at the very end, he was just thinking, this is hopeless. And he went to the docks to look at the timetable for the ships of this Sindhi line to go back to India. And at that time, you know, when everything, he tried everything, and then he had nothing, and practically hopeless in some sense. That time, that's when he met up with, wasn't it who became Hayagriva, I believe? Anyway, he met with a devotee, or a devotee met him, and from there, things turned around. This, oh, Swamiji, you've come from India. What are you doing? What are you telling? And then from this point, things turned around. And in a kind of a parallel thing, then Bhakti Saranga Goswami Maharaj, he really tried everything, and he was penniless. He was actually like at the end, and he's, I believe, Hyde Park, or one of the parks in London. And he went there to chant japa, and he just was walking or there in the park and chanting. And then just caught his eye that, oh, here is a deity, and deity of Chinmoy Prabhu?
Vasudeva.
Oh, Vasudeva, yes, deity of Vasudeva, right. And then everything turned around. And from that point, he got like some inspiration, and then he got a disciple, and he'd been given, actually, disciple means he gave Ritvik on behalf of Śrīla Saraswatī Ṭhākur. That Saraswatī Ṭhākur gave him that empowerment, if you like, that he can be Ritvik for any sincere person. And he also then got a disciple in England and in London until today, I hope, but it was there at least until fairly recently. Then there was a small ashram, which was there in London, which came about after the meeting of that person and giving initiation. And also he had no money. And then he got a check from India. Somehow, just at like the last moment, he got a check from India, but it had his name, like Bhakti Saranga Goswami, which wasn't the name in the passport. So he goes to the bank to try to, you know, say, well, I need to cash this. And then they're just saying, you know, he's an Indian sadhu in London. And, you know, they say, I'm sorry, you know, you can't prove who you are. You've got this check. We can't just hand out money to anybody. You've got to show something. And then he, like, again at a loss, okay, no, I've got nothing. I thought I'd now got some hope to be able to at least survive for a little time longer. And then he was maybe in the park again, but he just happened to see that day's newspaper. You know how people read the newspaper and leave it on a bench. Somehow he happened to see that day's newspaper, and there it had on the cover, perhaps, Swami from India, meets maybe Lord Jetland. It was Lord Jetland. So this was kind of big news in one sense, but his photograph was there. He saw somehow or another his photograph and this article about Swami. This is, or not Swami, that time he was Bhakti Saranga. Oh, that time he was not yet Swami. He was Bhakti Saranga, Aprakrita, right? His name at that time, Aprakrita Prabhu. So they know him as Aprakrita Prabhu. So his name was there. Then he went back to the bank with the newspaper. He said, look, it's me, it's me. And then they said, okay, here you are. And they gave him his money. I mean, there are lots of things that took place, and we'll hear about some of them now. And Kumkum Didi also reminded me that he had a disciple because Guru Maharaj did not take disciples. And so he used to refer sincere seekers, if they came to him, to others, but in particular to Bhakti Saranga Goswami Maharaj, because Śrīla Saraswatī Ṭhākur, for instance, had given him that position of Ritvik Guru on his behalf. So, and he knew that if they come to Aprakrita Prabhu, that they will be safe, they'll be in safe hands. And so there was a disciple, somebody that Guru Maharaj had referred to him, and if I think I could remember his name, but that disciple, he was serving to Aprakrita Prabhu. And Aprakrita Prabhu, he went back to his home presently after the disappearance of Saraswatī Ṭhākur. Very ugly things happened, and very difficult for them to remain within that missionary setup that it came to be. And he actually went back to his home, and not leaving Krishna consciousness, but that disciple served him. And this was part of the way that Śrīla Aprakrita Prabhu became sannyasi, became Bhakti Saranga Goswami Maharaj, because you see this brahmachari, he's given up everything to serve me. He's given up everything for Krishna consciousness. It doesn't mean to serve me, but to serve me in the sense of serve me in devotional service to the Lord. He said he's given up everything, but I'm now here in household life. And this was part of his change of mind, that he takes sannyas. And who he took sannyas from, he was the first sannyas disciple of Guru Maharaj. And Guru Maharaj, even though Bhakti Saranga Goswami Maharaj was senior to him in the mission, Guru Maharaj gave him sannyas, and it was that was the first sannyas disciple of Guru Maharaj. And again, due to heart, due to the substance of Krishna consciousness. Wonderful things. And Rupanuga Prabhu, if all these names are too much, doesn't matter, you're hearing about some wonderful persons. And good to see you in the clear blue sky of Australia.
I'll have you in English subtitles next time. No, Australian subtitles.
Yes, Australian subtitles might. All right. So perhaps, unless there's something that anyone would like to contribute, we'll kind of probably end here, because this is going to be the program starting at 11 o'clock Thai time, which means now they're coming up to broadcasting, which means 4 minutes time they're going to have some broadcast. So let us join there, and then 6 o'clock. So then after that, after 1 hour, another program here, and happily everything going on. And some good news even though we're ending now, some good news. Then we've settled up with Goswami Maharaj, the devotees there, Parananda Prabhu, and with other devotees around the world too. We've set up the dates for the online parikrama, which will be for Gaurapanima, Navadip Dham Parikrama. So these will be available soon with the detail that the devotees are making the wording for. But it's going to be 23, 24, 25, 26 of March, then 27 is the Adivas of Gaurapanima day. So it's a busy day for everybody. So we won't do on 27, but then 28, of course, is Gaurapanima. So we look forward to everyone's participation there. Everyone very welcome. And now, just very briefly, to all those online who I can see, and giving obeisances to all of the names, seeing the names of the devotees is also greatly purifying and wonderful. To all of those online, all of those on Facebook, I mean, and all of those who are here with us on the Zoom platform, then, oh, and Muktinath Prabhu is with us too. Somehow you were hiding. Now you're here. Muktinath Prabhu also with us. And Praneshri Didi wants to say a quick word too.
Yes, Maharaj. Did you see that Trivikram Maharaj joined? And
He
he offered
did,
obeisances to you.
Did he offer obeisances to me? Sorry.
Yes.
Trivikram Maharaj, you used your regular name. That's why I thought maybe you wanted to be anonymous. I gave my obeisances to you earlier. Also in an anonymous way, saying, Maharaj, my obeisances. So yes, Maharaj, happy to have you with us. All right, dear devotees, just a brief but full Ki Jai to Srila Gurudev Ki Jai, Srila Guru Maharaj Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, and Bhagavan Śrīla Bhakti Siddhānta Saraswatī Ṭhākur Ki Jai, and to Śrīla Bhakti Vinod Ṭhākur Ki Jai, our Rupa Nuga Guru Vaga Ki Jai, our President Acharya, Chaitanya Saraswati Acharya Brinda Ki Jai, and our present devotees with us and all over the world, Ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol.
Jai Śrīla Bhakti Pavan, Jai Śrīla Bhakti Ranjan
Bhakti Pavan Janardhan Maharaj Ki Jai, yes.
Yes, as well.
All right, Seva Rupa Devi Rasi. Always good to have you with us. Today you've been very quiet, but we'll have an opportunity for you to make more sound later on. And Jaya Devan Chintamani being so quiet also. All of you. Madhavi, good to have you there. Dandavat, Dandavat. See you very soon.
Hare Krishna.
Very well. Please excuse me. I'm on my way.